Now, I'm just going to go from the beginning to the end because it's too easy to just talk about the end the whole video, and otherwise this video is going to be 40 minutes of, you know, whatever I did last night after watching it, which was think. Just try and process everything. So something I noticed is that in the beginning of the episode, when they do, you know, the recap from past episodes, the line that Wanda says to Vision about Geraldine's disappearance is something along the lines of, you know, she doesn't belong here. Whereas in the actual episode, it was, of course, she had to go home, which is how Vision realizes that Wanda's lying to her. And I'm wondering if that's just a subtle nod of how Wanda's tampering with the broadcast in their universe versus, you know, sort of something similar there, parodying it, or something unrelated, you know, just footage they shot and put in for the recap. So in the beginning of the episode as well, you know, we see Wanda's children, and the show keeps hammering the idea that Wanda cannot control her children. So we don't know why, because she can control everyone else in the reality. Honestly, probably something to do with Agnes, but, you know, Wanda can't control them, which is just something fascinating. She can't put them to sleep. Agnes even says the line, which is, you know, kind of continuing the trend from the show of just lines that people say with, you know, it makes sense in the moment, but they all, of course, have a double meaning. So you got the devil in the details from episode 1, just a notable example. And then in this episode, you know.
Kids. Can't control them, no matter how hard you try.
Then we zoom out of Westview. We get a look at Sword trying to deal with the whole thing. And people like Hayward, and this is fascinating that they're going this direction, people like Hayward, and we can assume that a lot of the world don't view Wanda as a hero like the rest of the Avengers. You know, they have this outlook because Wanda has, first, she went to Hydra, was experimented on with the Mind Stone, fought the Avengers, helped Ultron before switching, right? Obviously. Then caused damage in Lagos and Germany as a fugitive, running from the Sokovia Accords. And we don't know how many people know about the whole Endgame thing about, you know, her relationship with Vision. So she is seen as, you know, sort of an irrational villain by many people. And that will, of course, tie in, you know, they will go the villain route, right? In case you have any doubts, this episode should be enough to, you know, seal that. But yeah, and when she's a villain, presumably in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that will be something that will tie in. Doctor Strange will have a hard time, or whoever fights her will have a hard time convincing the public that she's good. Also tying into that is the idea that whatever happens at the end of the show, which presumably, you know, Westview crumbles, she comes out of Westview and causes some complete chaos, will only reinforce the idea that she is some sort of villain, terrorist, because she's causing more destruction and the public does not know why. By the way, speaking of the terrorist line, when Jimmy and Darcy are describing Hayward, you know, he said, I don't usually, you know, talk ill of people. Darcy is cut off when Hayward says terrorist, so
I try not to speak ill of people.
Then allow me. Hayward's a dude.
Terrorists.
Maybe a reach here. Could be potential foreshadowing of, you know, Hayward's character. I mean, he's obviously, you know, an asshole. But are they going the villain route? Personally, I prefer not to see that. You know, we've done that a few times. Bigwig of secret organization becomes villain. I think the Monica Hayward stuff is more interesting, just the battle between them. But, you know, could happen. And so, as I just mentioned as well, the rift between Monica and Hayward, you know, we see it was present since their first meeting in episode 4 that we saw, but it'll only continue. And then obviously Hayward takes the shot with the drone. Monica obviously doesn't trust him. Monica probably wants to rule Sword because, you know, or not rule, that makes it seem like, you know, some tyrant or something, but be the leader of Sword because her mother was. So it's only right that she picks up the torch. And of course Hayward, you know, doesn't want that because he wants to lead it. So they show in this episode something a little shocking, that Wanda actually went into the Sword headquarters to take Vision. Now the Wanda we know would of course have honored Vision's last wish, but so it's possible that either she was influenced by something to go get Vision, or we do see Sword doing something with Vision. It looks like he's split up on multiple, tables, whatnot. And it's possible that Wanda just wanted to protect him from whatever Sword was going to do, because it looks like they were going to break his wish. They were going to turn him into a weapon, maybe, figure out what makes Vision, and make more of him. Human nature, we know this by now. Why do we keep doing this? That's how we got Ultron. But yeah, Wanda would not do that for nefarious reasons, just to create her own reality with Vision. There's no way that was the main motive. So since we know that, Wanda definitely took Vision's corpse, that's how he's there. How is he alive? How is he thinking? Because, he died. We still don't know, is it possible, since Wanda, has mind manipulation powers, that she is somehow keeping him alive? That'd be a bit of a cop-out, to be honest with you, because unless he can survive outside of the realm, which we don't know if that's confirmed yet. Actually, probably not, now that I think about it, because that would really be a cop-out, because otherwise Wanda could manipulate any dead person to be alive, which Wanda mentions to both Darcy and Jimmy that she knows a neurospace engineer.
I know an aerospace engineer who'd be up for this challenge.
That we don't get any further confirmation of. I was trying to think of who this could be. I don't know. Possibly a Skrull, because Monica has established relationships with them. But really could be anyone. I don't think any Skrull we know is a neurospace engineer. Could be a new character introduction. But obviously, she said that line. It means something. Think about it. Keep it in the back of your head, and we'll learn more about it. It wasn't a throwaway, right? Monica, also in that same scene, responds a bit oddly to Captain Marvel's mention.
Well, I'd argue that Captain Marvel came close.
Her powers came from an Infinity Stone too, right?
We are not talking about her.
So I'm wondering if there's some sort of bad blood there that we didn't see. We saw maybe off screen in between Captain Marvel and WandaVision, which is a large amount of time. And again, we'll find out. I just found that fascinating. They talk in that same scene again about how Wanda's extraordinary power to be able to keep the matter of everything, not just project it, not just create hallucinations.
If all the sets and props and wardrobe were solid matter, that would mean she's wielding an insane amount of power.
Far exceeding anything she's displayed in the past.
And with each mention of Wanda's power or showing of it, I only get more excited. Because eventually we're going to see this on the flip side. We know that she is extraordinarily powerful, and we haven't seen, the really full potential used in attacks, battles. And that will be epic. I love this franchise. I do. I love it so much. This show is it's subversive. It's something no one expected. A Marvel sitcom with a dead character as one of them, starring as them. Who expected it? It's working excellently. And I can't wait for the rest. All right, that was just a quick aside. Back to the main program. So Wanda's kids, again, in that same scene, that scene gave us a lot, are confirmed to be real, right? They exist. And so that means that they are set up for outside of the MCU. They will definitely be coming out of that reality, and probably heroes. I mean, we don't know. But that means my original theory of them staying kids and then probably dying, which, admittedly was probably a little dark from Marvel and Disney. But that was wrong, and they will make it out of this. And then we see Vision wake the residents, get him out of his little sleep state at the office. And again, does that go back to the Mind Stone thing? Because Vision is not alive, right? Vision, if he was alive, could maybe do that. But since Vision is not alive, since he does not actually have a Mind Stone in his head, how is he able to do that? We don't know. And by the way, I just want to mention about that same scene. The guy who he wakes up, while it is possible that Wanda's controlling the residents, and we see that she does definitely have control over many of the residents, it's possible she's not the one keeping them all in a trance, because the guy never says Wanda. He just says she. And what other big she in the show do we know that's, a little sketchy? Agnes. So, possible, maybe, I don't know, just a thought. So, an intense scene in this episode, wild, is when Wanda steps out of the reality to confront the soldiers. Holy crap, my heart was racing, right? But it bugged me that her Sokovian accent was back, because it has been entirely absent in you know, in Infinity War, in Civil War. People say, you know, there's tinges of it here and there, but it was nowhere near as it was in this episode of WandaVision. So I'm just wondering why that is. I don't know if maybe they are returning to the Sokovian roots, if there's a logical explanation for it. But, you know, I guess we'll see. Then we get our little ad break in the middle, and this time it's a Lagos for the mess. I forget the line, I botched it, but, you know, for the mess we don't mean to make. Obviously a reference to Civil War, when Wanda accidentally kills the civilians in the building after fighting Crossbones with the neurotoxin, I believe. And, you know, that kind of kicks off the whole events of Civil War. It's the final straw to create the Sokovian Accords, and Wanda feels guilty about it the whole film. So that's, you know, one of the biggest character scenes and one of the biggest character moments in her whole arc over the MCU. Actually, after watching this episode, it was just too much to process, so I did watch it a second time. I haven't done that with any of the other ones, but when the show is done, I'm definitely going to return back to all the other episodes and catch any foreshadowing, because I'm sure there is a ton that I'm just missing. Like the mailman guy who's returned twice and said very odd lines both times. You know, that'll be revealed. No need to state the obvious, but I'm going to do it anyway. Agnes lied about Sparky's death. We don't know how he died. We don't know why he died. I mean, Agnes probably didn't do it. I mean, unless we'll find out the motive why she might have. But yeah, Sparky wasn't eating leaves, okay? Yet again, another obvious thing that I'm going to point out is that Wanda's a massive hypocrite in her speech to her children about, you know, not being able to control things and whatnot, because that's what she's doing to Vision. Unless it's revealed that she's not. And that she's not being a hypocrite, and that's what the show wants us to think. So I'm going to play it safe and put my money in both, as I just did, so that way I can't be wrong. So this episode has two of, maybe the most tense confrontations of the entire show. Or the entire MCU, obviously the entire show. Both with Wanda and Sword, and even more tense, Wanda and Vision. Their argument, wow. That is electric. Obviously, we see Vision get very, very upset in the argument, and it's all, wow, it's just a lot to take in, exciting to watch. Wanda's telling the truth, probably, about her not starting the reality. As I said, you know, I don't think Wanda's the one controlling it all. I think Mephisto, Ralph, Agnes, you know, had something to do with the creation of it, and then Wanda just has control over it, and they're allowing her to manipulate it into sitcoms to give her the little coping mechanism, you know. But now we get to the good part, because doorbell rings. Wanda says it's not her. Vision doubts it. It's not her.
I didn't do that. You don't believe me.
They go to the door. They walk. Door open, right? Red alert at Sword HQ. We open the door. We pan back to see his hair. Quicksilver. It's Quicksilver's hair. And we're like, what the hell? Quicksilver's back. How? What's going on? Vision. Who is it? Who is it, darling? It's X-Men Quicksilver. What? The multiverse, right? Has literally been confirmed and just dropped in the middle of the episode. That's X-Men Quicksilver, in case you didn't know. He's probably up on screen right now. And he's not in the MCU. The X-Men universe is not at all connected to the MCU up until this moment. MCU Quicksilver's dead. We know this. X-Men Quicksilver, I'm going to have to refresh on my X-Men knowledge. But, why? For what purpose? We don't know. How? We don't know. But it's interesting. It's fascinating. And it gives us the future of the MCU. This is where they're going. The multiverse. Every rumor, not every rumor, but, you know, Spider-Man 3 definitely has Tobey and Andrew. And probably Daredevil. The multiverse is happening. We're getting these intertwined Marvel universes. And they're all coming together. I don't know how they're going to do it. I have faith in Kevin Feige. I've said that. And I was going crazy in that scene. I was going absolutely bonkers, right? So again, we don't know how it happened. Probably Agnes, Ralph, Mephisto behind it. Recasting Pietro, and since they couldn't get the real Pietro, because he's, you know, dead, probably in some, I don't even know where, what they did with the bodies after Sokovia. So it's a pretty dark thought. But so they grabbed a different Pietro. We'll see WandaVision's reaction probably next episode. Obviously, you know, she will not believe it's her brother, or maybe she goes along with it to keep the reality intact. We'll see. I don't know. You don't know. We'll see. So the show is confirmed, I only recognize this the past week, to be structured in 3 parts. Episode 1 through 3 are pure sitcom, pure sitcom / mystery. Episode 4 through 6 are hybrid, right? And episodes 7 through 9 are confirmed as action-packed, and, you know, they're each an hour long. So we have one more 30-minute episode next week, hybrid probably, you know, hybrid sword, sort of figuring out the mystery. And then 7 through 9 are going to be wild. I think I said this the past few episodes, or the past few reviews, but each episode has only gotten better than the last, right? Not to say, like, episode 1 or 2 are good. They're not great. We are into great territory. If each episode keeps getting better, we will have the best MCU content ever by episode 9. What are the odds of that? I mean, they can't keep going up forever. They've been doing it so far. But this show's excellent. Congratulations. I'm hooked. Marvel controls my life right now. And then I just slipped. And then just one final thought. What is the future of WandaVision, so how the show ends and stuff, mean for Far From Home? Because it's confirmed as being before Far From Home, after Endgame, which means chronologically, it's the first content we get after Endgame. And, you know, how does that tie in? Does that mean that, so if it's some big ending like we're all expecting, or maybe I'm expecting, then Far From Home, you know, why didn't they acknowledge it? So maybe it starts before Far From Home and goes after. Maybe Mysterio gets his inspiration of the multiverse thing from whatever happens in WandaVision. Maybe I have no idea what's happening and I keep only saying random thoughts. That's likely. That's true. I'll go as far as to say that's true. I have made up my mind that I am going to watch and review all of the X-Men and Deadpool. There's only 2, but all of the X-Men and Deadpool movies, since Marvel is saying these are coming in, you know, in some fashion. I will rank them eventually when I'm done. It will probably take a while, and I have a feeling I'm not going to like them because I tend to not like things that are not quality. I'm sure I'll like a few. I'm sure there's some gems in there, you know, Logan, Deadpool. I'm not going to list all the ones that I think are gems, but keep an eye out for that. Probably a few weeks. Yeah, ranking and watching them definitely before, you know, the season finale, though, because I also want to do a Marvel ranking, but include WandaVision in that. That, folks, is my review of WandaVision episode 5. I love the show. If you're watching this, you love this show, probably. Why else would you be watching it? I will see you next week. If my mind is this blown again, or even, you know, even more blown, I might be looking like Vision for next episode with a stone out of my head. So just keep an eye out for that. And thank you for watching. Love you.